Hey guys, what's up? This is Shakti here, and today I'm just going to talk about the lenses that I pair with my X-T4, and so I'm going to compare each of my lenses, and I mainly do videography, so all my reviews are going to talk just about videography. So the first that I'm going to talk about is my uh, 16 to 55, which has been my absolute favorite lens that I have. I had a lot of doubts about before I purchased this lens because I was worried about low light. I was worried about focusing. I knew it was going to be bulky and heavy, but there were few people who could review and say that it's a great lens to have, and I'm very happy that I took the decision to buy. And for each of the lenses, I'm going to talk about the pros and the cons. So this is going to be a versatile lens because it covers all the focal ranges from the 16 to 55, and f2.8 constant is okay. It's not going to be the greatest lens for low light. So all my lens comparisons I'm going to talk about just for videography because I just do videography. And f2.8 is kind of okay, but I always carry a prime lens with it, so when I need that extra stop of light. And the focus is just superb. A lot of people, um, Fuji users, they always have the Fringer adapter 2 with the Sigma 18 to 55 f1.8. I know that's a great lens to have, but the native 16 to 55 is unbeatable in terms of focusing. A lot of times I see when I see them use the Sigma lenses, I see a lot of shuttering here and forth when they do focus from a long distance to a short distance. But I can assure you, the 1655 is just cream butter. When you do when you focus from a long distance to a short distance, you can just see a very constant, smooth pull. But of course, I mean, like, negatives is that it's going to be bulky, it's going to be heavy, so you got to be careful, and you definitely need a grip with the XT4 to put on this lens because it's going to be very front heavy. And so then I'm going to talk about my 18 to 55. So you might be thinking that, okay, I already had the 1655, but then why and again an 1855? So this, I got the lens with the camera, and but it's been a great addition. It's a very small lens, and the capability of this lens is amazing. Uh, a lot of reviewers have already talked about how good this lens is for a kit lens, and one thing is, like, it's got optical image stabilization. So even if you walk around with this lens, you can get away with it with a little bit of post processing. Of course, you cannot beat a gimbal, but then it's okay, kind of. And the next lens that I have here is the 90 mm. It's going to be a very specific focal length. You got to be very careful using this lens because uh, it serves a particular purpose. So I mainly take it for capturing events, and it's a great lens to have. It's very sharp, and the f2 is also works great, but this lens is in no comparison to the 1655 in terms of focus. In low light, this I see this lens to struggle a bit. I can see some shifting here and forth, uh, but when there's light, of course it's going to be great. And I have a Viltrox 23 mm 1.4, which is going to be a very versatile lens, and 23 mm, of course, is going to be great. The video focus is amazing with this lens. It's almost as good as the 1655, and the negative that I can talk about that lens is that there's a color shift of the lens towards the magenta range. So, with respect to skin tones, when you capture any of your images, you got to be very careful that you need to correct your images post with respect to the colors. And when you do it, you can see your images pop out of it. So that's one negative, and but then you get what you pay for. Then I want to talk about my Nikon lenses, which I have adapted to the Fuji system. So here's the 35 mm 1.8. This has been an absolute favorite of my collection, and there's no warping of images. It's just that you'll have to pull back a little bit, but then it's a great lens to have. The smoothness of the bokeh is great. I like the bouquets of this lens better than even my 90 because I like bouquets which are a little soft, but then I don't want nothing to be there. So when you capture with a very low f-stop with the 90 almost the background just completely disappears, which I personally do not like. Then I have my Tokina 11 to 16, which is the first generation lens. It does not have a focusing motor within it, but when I use this lens with the manual focus and with the focus peaking with the XT4, I really love this lens. It's got a very nice feel and it's a different kind of lens to have with a manual focus, but and also because it's a wide angle lens, I do not have to worry so too much about the focusability of myself because you get a very good range for depth of field. And also this lens, though it is not clinically very sharp, but the rendering of images out of the lens is simply beautiful. And then the last I have is the zoom lens, 50 to 200. This is not the greatest of lens, but then when I need this lens, this is there for me. It's pretty lightweight, I can just carry it around. The only thing is that with a zoom lens, you're going to have a very shallow depth of field, and with a manual focus, it's just going to be very horrible. Very soon, I'm going to pick up another Fuji native lens for zoom when I get an opportunity. And I also have a DJI Osmo Action camera, which I'm going to use like wherever I cannot take my Fuji X-T4. And I like to put this camera on my car hood or underwater, etc. Whenever I want to take the shots, it's there for me. And the sky colors coming out of it is simply brilliant. I don't know what they do, but then like it's simply magic. So these are the lenses that I have, and if you have any questions, you can comment below, and I can always reply back to you. I hope you found the reviews to be useful. But then like one thing that I want to really point out is like whatever you have, make the best use of it. It's not that you add a gear to your camera bag and you have great videography. It's all about practice, 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 and just get the Fuji juice out of it. See you guys. Bye bye.